I've been playing outdoors since I was a kid, standing by the front door at around 2 years old, hollering, side, 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 trying to get my mom to let me go play outside. Now, after 30 plus years working in the outdoor business, I'm dropping insider conversations every week with the brand leaders, guides, marketers, CEOs, and others to make the outdoor industry a trillion-dollar juggernaut that drives product innovation, revenue, and public policy for everything outdoors. I'm Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 444 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Today I'm talking with Alex Brown from the Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance. The Alliance was established to assemble an engaged network of outdoor enthusiasts, value-aligned businesses, innovators, and workforce leaders organized and resolved to continuously shape, grow, and elevate the Texas outdoor recreation ecosystem and natural resources it depends on. And Alex is going to tell us all about their work. Hey, before we get to this week's episode, I want to let you know of a great podcast I recently learned about that I think you'll enjoy. Who Runs This Park? Here is host Maddie Pellman to tell you all about it.
Who Runs This Park is a podcast showcasing the untold stories of people serving and protecting our national parks for over 100 years. I'm your host, Maddie Pellman, and together we'll uncover the stories of national park superintendents that have never before gotten the attention and appreciation they deserve. I can guarantee how you view our national parks and protected lands will change, and you'll leave inspired and itching for an adventure. At the precipice of unprecedented challenges in the Park Service and in conservation in general, these conversations are crucial. Together, we are building a community of park enthusiasts and stewards. Join in by listening to Who Runs This Park wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hey, Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to talk to you. I love all the things going on down in Texas. I was down at the running event last year. I'm not sure I'm going to the running event this year, but down in Austin at the running event and a lot of cool stuff. I'm excited to see what you're working on, hear about all that.
Yeah, lots going on, but a lot of coals in the fire, but yeah, things are continuing to progress. So
awesome.
That's a positive. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Moving forward. Yep. I first got to hear about your NCAA wrestling career. How did you get started in wrestling?
Yeah, so, not being a true Texan native, I grew up in Pennsylvania, where that is kind of the wrestling capital of
Dan
the
Gable,
US.
right? Was he from there?
Well, he's Iowa, but yeah,
okay. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a one-off, all right. But now it's definitely a breeding ground for good wrestling. I mean, currently Penn State, they're on a tear. They've been winning national championships here for the last decade. Just they can't be stopped, and they've got a coach that. He actually was from Utah native,
cool.
But he's been at Penn State for a while. Yeah.
Awesome. Did you wrestle? Did you go to Penn State?
I did not. I went to Boston University, got a full ride there based on my performance throughout high school. Uh-huh. So it was a lot of ups and downs. Wrestling is a battle, from the time you get started as a little guy to whatever your career ends. So,
like all those sports we start in high school, right? They all,
pretty much, right?
we dig them and we love all the work, 3 a days. I remember football and the heat in Fontana, but it's at the end of the day, you come out banged up and beat up, but I think you learn a lot and have a lot of fun. So,
absolutely, yeah, and that's really what I loved about the sport of wrestling. You learn a lot about yourself, whether you realize it during the while you're doing the sport. Right. It's kind of after it's over and you can look back and kind of see how it applies to your life.
Right.
Any other one of those that does it really well.
Yeah. Any other sports? Did you play any other sports?
I did. When I was growing up, I played pretty much everything. Our parents were great about just getting us into different sports, everything from soccer, some karate, football. Wow. Football was my other sport, but like most athletes that kind of try to focus in on one. By the time you get to high school, you kind of got to pick. Not always, but I chose wrestling and that benefited me greatly. So that was it was a wise choice. I don't think I was going to ever have the body to be a football star, so little strategy in that, but
that was my problem. I wasn't smart enough to realize I was too small to play football. I kept at it all the whole time.
It's just fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. Yeah. We had a good team and it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. So where does your passion for nature come from?
Yeah, I think it's always kind of been there. I was always the little kid, now kind of running off into the woods or into the creek. We grew up around, we were in a pretty rural area, but kind of on the outside of the suburbs. But we had access to creeks and farm fields that we would, climb fences and go over. But myself, I was just always out there, spending as much time as I could. And grandparents got me into like nature camps as a kid when I was elementary age, and I just learned a lot about it and just learned to appreciate it and learned to spend time in it and just valued it and kind of just stuck throughout the rest of my life.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. And you started a business, Geared Up. Tell us about that. When did that come to life?
I did. So that was very much, a startup that I saw as a way to maybe transition out of my career, which at that time was working as a project manager or a laboratory program manager with the DoD, doing a lot of biomedical research programs. And I guess I kind of thought I had amassed some skills. This is back in 2016, 2017. So kind of that the platform revolution, Airbnb and Uber and those kind of things were taking off. So did a lot of reading, a lot of studying up, and just saw what was happening to the outdoor industry through things like, Amazon and whatnot, and just was looking for a better alternative. So kind of put my neck out there to see what I could do. And, it got far enough as going to some pitch competitions before real life kind of came back and the career went in a different direction. I had to kind of put it aside for a number of years, but it really was kind of for the best. It would have been a long slog if I stuck with that, and it was already beating me up pretty good, but it informed me pretty well for what I'm doing these days.
I mean, we learn a lot. All these things we start and don't see it through to the end. We still learn a lot. I mean, it's never
right. Exactly. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It really did pay dividends. Yeah, I didn't realize it at the time, but it really, it allowed me to do what we're doing with the Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance.
Probably made a lot of great connections. Yeah. So what was the inspiration for Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance?
So, a bit of situational awareness, just keeping an eye on what was happening with the outdoor industry. Jumped back to Geared Up quickly. That was my sort of inundation into, the Outdoor Industry Association and ORR and all these resources. And I saw these offices of outdoor rec popping up across the different states. And at that time, I was looking for any kind of support I could get as a small business startup.
Right.
That was just, burning the candle at all ends. And I realized, and at the time I was in Texas, so we did not have an outdoor office of recreation or anything of the sorts. So again, just, I did have to turn away from it, but I kept an eye on what was going on leading up, even pre-COVID, just the strength of the sector and sort of the momentum it was gaining. And that was really, the initial inspiration for me before even Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance started. I kind of did, without wearing any hats, just did the sort of top-down digging, started with the governor's office down through different agencies and different orgs in Texas, and kind of just was looking for awareness. If anybody was paying attention or knew what was going on the bigger scale, and it was pretty quiet, to be honest. And so that was sort of the inspiration to say, all right, well, let me just see what we can get going here in Texas.
Cool. Did you connect with any of the adjacent groups, like maybe some Audubon or Sierra Club or any of those? Well, not Sierra Club, but Texas version of Sierra Club. Were any of those groups out?
Not in any major capacity. I definitely reached out, and we have a great conservation and stewardship presence in Texas. Texas Parks and Wildlife does a great job. So of course, kind of was in similar lanes as them in that sense. And it was, I think, because there was such a lack of awareness of this industry sector, component to it all, that it was sort of like, oh, well, the thought was, this is all already captured, or this is already being done by some agency or some group. There's no way that it could be missed. And it turns out that wasn't the case. And, you make enough relationships, you start to find out, kind of that there is a lack of that awareness and kind of what's really happening. And that has, since changed. I think COVID helped a lot to open others' eyes to sort of the strength of the industry and just kind of what was happening around the country.
Very cool. And your mission is to fortify the Texas outdoor recreation ecosystem by elevating those who make recreating possible and fostering engagements that strengthen communities. How are a couple of ways you deliver on that?
Yeah, so right off the bat, we have an active campaign we call Trailblaze 24, but it's really Trailblaze Texas. This is the 24th year, 2024, so Trailblaze 24. But essentially focusing on getting small businesses or the startups, those emerging brands, as everyone likes to say, out to the trade shows, the expos, or other events that are relevant to them to help drive their exposure.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a secret. These are the businesses that are usually don't have the resources financially or personnel to get out to those places and really get their brand or their business moving.
Right.
So that's one way. But it's really, that is kind of a morphed out of seeing the lack of awareness and lack of exposure out there, even just within our state, kind of digging into the locale and asking, some of the other small businesses in the outdoor space, about, are they aware of these other businesses, even within our own zip code? And,
Wow.
it was alarming to see, there's really a lack of awareness even within smaller portions of Texas. So that exposure to help bring it back to the communities and just drive that full circle is really the mission of that sort of the Trailblaze campaign.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to the running event at all?
I was aware of it, but I have not. But it is on our calendar to get up there this year and be up there, and with a number of other events that happen around Austin.
Austin's the key. Yeah, I worked at Eagle Creek for 10 years. We had a great rep down there in Austin, Mike and Sue Sullivan, and they lived down in Dripping Springs. And it was just great to go visit with them, and they're way into the environment and pretty connected in Texas. But I'm not sure. They're kind of retired now, but
right,
working with Holder Provisions and all those folks, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, they're all big names, right? And Dripping Springs is a great area. We, that's an area we like to go up to. There's a lot of outdoor centric stuff in that area that people really appreciate the outdoor lifestyle.
Best barbecue in the country.
That's right. Right. And
the Salt Lake.
Unless you're on the East Coast, I guess, right?
I guess so. Yeah. That was one of my requirements. Okay, Mike, I'll come down, but we got to go to the Salt Lake.
Gotta get that barbecue.
Yeah, that's exactly. Great. Yeah. Any key initiatives or projects that you're working on that you can talk about?
So I did, I mentioned the Trailblaze. That is the big one because that's really helping us gain, capacity and get these brands the exposure that they've been, looking for. And then really the big part right now is just getting these groups together. I'm not sure how familiar you are with sort of a consortium model or an ecosystem, but the businesses and the outfitters and the guides, I kind of consider them the enablers of outdoor rec. They provide the goods, the services that help people get out there with ease. And, they're just one piece, but we've got participants and we've got, allies and educators in our public sector and our workforce. And then we've got folks like the champions that are your private investors and your landowners and things like that. So trying to bring them all together in a way that they really haven't before. And that's just going to be an ongoing, sort of educational exercise, getting these normally non-engaging parties together in a way that, there's not necessarily, a funding ask or money there. It's a very sort of just more casual networking, open opportunities for people to exchange ideas and see what happens out of that.
Have you had any events yet? Or are you still so new?
We have. Yeah, we had a lunch up in Austin back in April, and we've got another one coming up this month on the 18th of May, actually, in Dripping Springs.
Oh, cool.
So, we'll be at a outdoor beer company, 12 Fox Brewery, actually. And they have a great outdoor venue, so plenty of space for us to spread out and just get some fundraising going, some open networking.
Yeah, very cool. Who are some of your key supporters at this point?
So, it's been a sensitive, very, I've been walking a very careful line to make sure we can make those the right relationships. So,
right.
The immediate supporters, of course, they are the local businesses, our chambers, the landowners, and some of those sort of usually not engaged parties like product engineers and things like that, manufacturers who typically aren't engaged until, later in the process. So just trying to get those innovative minds together early on has really, I think their eyes kind of opened wide and they were very interested to be kind of included in that in a way that's different than I think they typically are. So they definitely are supporting. And we are gaining a lot of that, those sort of groups, which is important to get, the commerce and the landowners here in Texas. That's pretty crucial.
Yeah, the retailers and the wholesalers and all those folks. Yeah. There's probably quite a few guides, I bet, too. Hunting and fishing guides for sure.
There's a lot. Yeah. And there's a lot, our outdoor recreation profile in Texas, of course, we have boating. A lot of hunting, a lot of that boating's huge. And well, as long as you're in an area that isn't drought ridden, boating's still huge in Texas. Yeah, but we've got a lot of drought and so forth as well. So
we can relate to that out here in California. I've always had
exactly. Exactly.
What have been a couple of the biggest challenges facing Texas outdoor rec at the start?
At the start, it really is trying to make that transition from, myself. I'm a full-time, I have a full-time job on the side. Well, not really on the side. That is my
That's a
full-time
huge
job.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. So becoming, an operational organization, turning it into something that we can sustain full-time, staffing up, but doing it in a way that just makes sense. Don't want to put the horse before the cart. But I think, things are moving along pretty well at a good pace. So the biggest challenge is just balancing all the different relationships, all the different stakeholders, and just, again, making sure that we're doing everything with Texas first. It's easy to get sidetracked and distracted and start, going down a different path, but trying to always kind of bring it back to center and, be Texas first, because this is where we are. This is, it's Texas Outdoor Recreation Alliance, and that's kind of what we have to keep our mission space focused on.
That makes sense. Is it still just you, or do you have any other cohorts with you?
No, it's my wife had no choice, so she's involved, and she's very much in the outreach and engagement stuff, and helping with the event planning, and we've got another one who's the creative director, and she's handling a lot of that, the logos, and of course making sure that we look good and things are tight. Yeah. But we continue to grow, and a lot of advisors, a lot of folks that are giving good sound advice and just keeping us on the straight and narrow. But our businesses, I'm engaging with a number of them on a daily basis, just, answering questions and just trying to understand what their problems are and how we can solve that. Yeah. So it's all coming together pretty well. It's exciting times.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet. Never a dull moment, I'm sure. We're all doing our best to reduce environmental pollution, but those gadgets that seemingly eat batteries. There are 10 million alkaline batteries thrown away every day in the USA, and most are landfilled or incinerated. Pale Blue Earth batteries could help you reduce your share of that. Because when you need a battery, you need it now or very soon. Speed and convenience matter. Pale Blue batteries are rated for 1,000 charges and come with a limited charge-for-life guarantee. They are available in size AAA, AA, 9-volt, C, D, and CR 123A. And we've got a special offer from Pale Blue just for Outdoor Biz listeners. Go to paleblueearth.com and use code ODBizBlue15 and get 15% off your batteries today. That's ODBIZBLUE15, and that code is good until June 30th, so get on it. Grab a few for holiday gifts, and get some for your friends and family too. Stop throwing away batteries and money. Go to paleblueearth.com and use code ODBizBlue15. Help the planet survive so our kids, nieces, and nephews can have the same outdoor fun we've had. Now let's get back to the show. And how can people get involved? Reach out to you?
Yeah, reach out to me. We have trailblazetexas.com or trailblazetx.com. It has a lot of information about that, about how to get involved, whether as a member or sponsors, donors, that kind of all that important stuff is outlined there. But it all also brings you back to myself. We've got the fundraising campaign. We're using the platform Give Butter, so that's been real helpful. Very seamless kind of integration there, so that's been helpful. Cool. But again, all that's up on that trailblazetx.com.
Well, we'll find all that stuff on that website and put links to all that stuff in the show notes so people can reach out and stuff. Yeah. How are you guys collaborating with any other organizations like yourself, any other nonprofits or any other? I'm sure after all the businesses, the retailers and the guides and those.
Who we are, yeah.
Okay.
That's important. The boots on the ground and getting with those other nonprofits. And I'm not going to throw any names out there yet, but definitely a number of them, and just trying to make sure that we're interacting with the right folks with the same mission and in the same mission space. So. Definitely. Hopefully, in the next couple months, we can roll a lot of that out a little bit more officially and have some of those, affiliated or support parties up on our websites.
You got to walk before you run, right?
Exactly. Now, a couple of things. We are integrated with the SOBAN, which is the State Outdoor Business Alliance Network.
Oh, good.
We're an emerging OBA, Outdoor Business Alliance, with them. And we just recently put up our membership for the Outdoor Industry Association. Oh, kind of a strategic, move on my part, just to make sure that we are, capturing a lot of the information that's out there, that it would be beneficial to our members who really need that at some of the early stages that they're in.
Yeah. Have you been to the Outdoor Retail Show yet?
I have. It's been a couple years,
Cool. Okay,
but
yeah.
I have been out there, so it's been it's something that we're looking forward to getting back involved with, when we can, and time will tell. It all depends on capacity and fundraising and all that kind of good stuff. But
right.
definitely we've got kind of a roadmap that we've got built out. It really is going to be driven though by where do our brands, where do our businesses need to be, want to be, and what helps benefit them.
Yeah.
And bring it back to Texas.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good resources there, national groups that are there, and other folks I'm sure you probably saw when you were there. And I think same with running event, and there's probably still a local outdoor show there, isn't there, down in Texas?
Yeah, there's a number of them. I mean, it's a lot. The space continues to change and grow, which I think is exciting about.
I haven't worked down there in years. I mean, it's been 10, 15 years since I was down there, but since I was actually in the outdoor space with Eagle Creek. Yeah.
And it's just, the overlanding or off-highway vehicle stuff is just growing in Texas, and for a good reason. I mean, it's a huge state, and the best way to get some places is, with wheels. So,
and you got to go on dirt sometimes too.
Exactly. So, I think it's pretty neat, and there's a lot more of those events that kind of do a good job of kind of collaborating the sector a bit. It really crosses into your hiking and camping and your other sort of like leisure lifestyle sports as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What other resources do you have to provide partners in addition to the events? And do you guys have, other activities where you get together and do like kind of like a chamber of commerce, go at somebody's business and, switch off, those kind of things?
So those are starting to get turned on. So I've got sort of a back end platform that I use that we will be rolling out more and more of those resources as we gain capacity, and kind of doing it again, informed with the group. But, we're tapped into some of the collaborative workspaces here in San Antonio. One's called Geekdom, which again, it provides us some additional resources that we can bring to our membership. A lot of engagement events, like you mentioned, with different groups like our chambers of commerce. And so just tapping into those, being present at those, and kind of letting those organizations know that, the outdoor industry sector does have some pretty neat stuff that you should be paying attention to, because, and that goes back to the sort of the awareness campaign I did a few years back, but just, nobody really, those outside the space don't really pay attention to the economic component of it until you kind of put it in their lap.
Yeah. And it's a major economic engine for a lot of these states, as they're bringing all the outdoor activities from fishing and hunting and hiking to boating. It's just huge. So
it is, and that's the stuff that excites me really. I mean, I love the brands and the businesses, but I look at the big infrastructure type projects that that bring people that are in a more suburban or more urban or metropolitan area, really solutioning that access problem that a lot of folks have. Creating areas of green spaces and things that bring other activities into the fold. Like we've got the bike trail, the connected trail that they're building between San Antonio and Austin, which is an ongoing project. Yeah, but it really is a pretty neat concept. Of course, it's got headaches. You're going through a lot of different municipalities and so forth, but it's got an awesome mission. And definitely, fun thing to watch happen, because it really fits into the outdoor space a lot.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. Any other exciting things you're most excited about the future of outdoor recreation?
It really is just kind of the continued growth. It is still very new.
It's like a blank canvas, right? You can almost write your own.
Right. Which for me, it can go in a million different directions. But we're pretty tightening up on our focus, which is great, and getting some good folks into the fold that are really helping things move forward. So this summer is really exciting, and heading into 2025 will be an exciting time. So lots to come down here in Texas, but that's kind of just the nature of it. It's a huge state, so in order to kind of keep that momentum going, things are just going to have to keep happening.
Lots of opportunity. Yeah, I'm sure you will have no shortage of things keep happening.
Exactly. No. That's the plan.
Yeah, right on. Let's shift gears a little bit. What's your favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100?
Gosh, this I always these kind of questions are great because they always make me think so much. And
I think this is the hardest. This is the hardest question I ask people. I think it's really funny.
Well, I almost feel bad because I get a lot of gear. I love the gear, my tech and stuff, but it's the basic stuff that makes me the most happy. Like, so down here in Texas, we get a lot of dry air and so forth. So if I don't like lip balm or something like that is like the most precious thing on a long day out hiking or camping. Yeah, it's like, man, that to me is so important. And I'm just thinking through my head, like all the other stuff that I just don't even half the time use.
Yeah.
But
that's a good one. I don't think anybody's ever said that. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was just dry when I was thinking about it. Yeah. Stuff like that is just real important. The necessities.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you don't think much about until you don't have it. And then it's like, oh man.
Right. Yeah. And I don't like my feet being uncomfortable. So, whenever I think, what was it? Years ago, I was in a running store and I had only worn like cotton socks up to that point in my life. And, this is 21-year-old and never again, I don't think I've wore much cotton on my feet since from that day on when I was introduced to, performance socks. And so that's got to be up there with my,
that's a good one too.
Top 5 under 100.
I'm sure I don't own any cotton socks now that I think about it.
Yeah. I might have an old pair that gets used as a rag or something, but that's, that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you read a lot? Do you have a couple of favorite books?
I read so much for work that I get a very limited amount of free reading, but I do. I've got a couple in the last 3 or 5 years that come right to the top of my head. One that very true to the outdoor space, Into Thin Air.
Oh, great!
I had seen the movie, of course, but I hadn't read other of his books. But that one took me a while to get to, and I'm glad I did. It was very eye opening.
Interesting story.
That crazy story. But and then Unbroken, that's another good one I read in the last few years. That just again movie does not do it justice. Much better book than movie, I'll say. But,
I haven't read I got to get that book. I've seen the movie, but I haven't read the book. That'll be my next one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real good book. I read the book first, then saw the movie. So I was a little downed by the movie, but I thought the book was great.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Well, as we wrap up, how can people find you if they'd like to reach out, follow up?
Well, so my email, alex@texora.org. We're on Instagram, and we have a LinkedIn page and Twitter or X. So all the socials, we're up there, and I'm sure we'll have them posted here after this.
Yeah, we'll link to the show notes, definitely. Yep.
So perfect. Yeah, but
my email. Or walk us through. It's TXOR. Walk us.
Yep, TXORA.org.
Cool. Gotcha. Perfect.
That's that's our the nonprofit's official site, and then we have the campaign website, which is the trailblazetx.com.
Awesome. So, cool. Yep. Yeah, we'll put links to all that stuff in the show notes.
Yeah, appreciate it. Awesome.
Cool. Well, it's been great talking to you. I look forward to meeting you one of these days somewhere at a show or
you as well. Hopefully, we like to travel, we like to get out and around. So hopefully, we'll be in the same place, same time. We can link up.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Alex. That's great. We'll make it happen.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Take it easy. And thanks again to our sponsor, Pale Blue. Go to paleblueearth.com and use code ODBizBlue15 and stop throwing away batteries and money.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or spread the word and tell a friend. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Sayes.